All right, ladies and gentlemen, back at the Brighton Hot Dog Shop in Vanport. 'Tis the season for some comfort food. Jimmy Equals' lovely bride, Naomi, a school teacher at Blackhawk, shooting this on the Samsung Galaxy 7. Wedding soup for his bride. There you go. Love it. And yes, it would not be a night unless you enjoyed some great chili dogs. Now, speaking of chili, don't forget Sunday chili recipes with Joe and Frank Dentisi on the Coons Cooking Hour. But right now, I talked to Dave Burhan, who is a teacher at Center Township, now Central Valley. We're going to talk about that big football game coming up tomorrow night. Mark Lyons, Central Valley, hosting Ryan Matsuk's Beaver Falls Fighting Tigers. But I wanted to talk about the book, Miller Time again. And if you are a friend on Facebook of David, you'll see that he got some great pictures. Jim Boeheim of Syracuse, along with Archie Miller now at Dayton, all holding the book, and even Jay Wright of those national champs, Villanova. So pretty cool stuff. And then I started to do the whole timeline thing, and I realized this guy corresponded and a great writer for a number of years with the Beaver County Times, and he actually was quoted, as all of us were, about this amazing book. And I thought I'd give him a chance to talk about the guy that he covered, John Miller. Greatest high school basketball coach in this region ever, in your opinion?
I would think so. I would think he has to be. There's obviously we've had so many great coaches here, but Coach Miller is just—he's the epitome. I mean, he's nationally known in what he's done. And obviously, what his sons have done. So yeah, he's definitely the greatest coach in Beaver County history in Western Pennsylvania.
You know, his son, a track star at the University of Pittsburgh, and I didn't realize the whole polio thing. And Jonas Salk, obviously, at Pitt many years ago, that wonderful place, discovered the vaccine for polio. He actually overcame polio, didn't he?
Yes, yeah, he did. And again, those were things that I never knew. And you know, obviously, you know, covering all those years, you know, those things just would never come up. And so, you know, the book really points out a lot of things that certainly I never knew. I'm sure a lot of people in the area never knew.
What made him such a good basketball coach? And I'm going to have your wife get a little closer. We got a nice crowd here tonight, so I want to make sure that everybody hears what we're saying about John Miller, because it definitely needs to be heard and told, the story. And I think it would be a great movie someday, because it's an amazing life. And he overcame polio, but also basketball player, and then of course a coach in the region, and then he shot to stardom while at Blackhawk, and now his sons, both at the collegiate level, doing extremely well. But what was it about him? His intensity, his ability to break a game down, and he did it with players against teams who may have had better talent, but he always found a way to win in the big games.
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I mean, you look at some of the state championship games, and we would go out there and cover, you know, Bill Letterback and myself, or Mike Byers and myself, we'd be out there, and you'd see the pregame warm-ups, and you'd see some of the, you know, the other team warming up, and a couple of the other city kids and stuff, and you think, oh, they're going to get crushed, and they would go out there and beat them, and he just could get the most out of any player, and it was just amazing that upper middle class, wealthy district like Blackhawk, and these kids, they were going to go to college whether they got scholarships or not, but he was, he got the most out of them. They played great basketball, great team basketball, and he started them young, and they came through his program the whole way, and just had it just turned into, it was the program from the ground up.
Yeah, forward by John Calipari, the great Kentucky coach, and of course they got together, as we all did many years ago at Rhino Production, and did Drill for Skill. So great guy, Miller Time, in a book that you might want to get, especially with the holidays around the bend. Amazon's the best place to get it. That, of course, written by David Burhan. He at Central Valley. So let's talk about this game tomorrow night. Now, Mike Byers, along with, tell me about AJ, the guy that he did the video with at timesonline.com. Tell me about AJ.
AJ's been with us probably for, I want to say, maybe a little over 5 years. He's a Ronald Morris grad, very talented, and so yeah, he's
last name?
Chiappese.
Chiappese, okay.
He actually used to have a Rivals. He did a Rivals Robert Morris Rivals website, and then he did some writing for us on the side, and now he's full time at the time, and he does a great job.
Yeah, you guys do a wonderful job at your website, and you should pick up the subscription of the hometown paper that we love, and you can also get it online, and I think you'll be very pleased, especially when it comes to covering high school sports. Week 7, he and Mike were breaking it down earlier, and I was watching that today. So it's Central Valley taking on Beaver Falls. This is the Beaver Valley Conference. So what do you think about the Beaver Valley Conference? As far as talent, you think about Equipo, you think of Beaver, where we are right now, Darius Weiss, who's an amazing football player, and Beaver Falls and Central Valley. You know, we missed the old MAC conference, Mid-Athletic Conference, but this thing is a pretty good conference, isn't it?
When I covered again a few weeks ago against in this Quaker Valley in Hopewell, and I was talking to the Quaker Valley coach afterwards, and he was saying that the 4 best teams in the state in 3A are in their conference. So he said, they're one of those 4 teams is not only win the Whitfield championship, but probably a state championship. So, you look at that conference and just the talent level. And the sad part is, one of those teams is not going to go to the playoffs, and they're probably good enough to win the Whitfield title. So it's going to be the sad part of realignment, reclassification, as they're calling it. So.
Well, Central Valley's had a few hiccups along the way. One because of Darius Weiss, who they helped Beaver score 35 points in the game, but also South Fayette. But talk to me about Mark Lyons and how he has always been able, since that merger took place, to find players. This was supposed to be a down year, and as I was watching the tape earlier today with Mike and AJ, as they said, not much respect or love before the season started for Central Valley, but lo and behold, they're in the thick of things right now.
Right, he's definitely built a program. I mean, it just keeps rebuilding. He did a great job when he was at Panaca years ago, and I think it was a little bit of a surprise when he did get the Central Valley job. When they first hired him, but and he had it was a really sensitive situation bringing those 2 communities together. But winning the Whitfield championship his first year, and he's just building on to that year after year. They won a few Whitfield championships. They did a state championship game. He's sent out two of the best players in the Whitfield in the last few years with Robert Foster and Jordan Whitehead. So it's just a program that he's built.
Tell me about his quarterback, Nico.
He is an amazing athlete. They came into the season with not knowing who they were going to have as their starting quarterback. They had 2 guys. They would rotate possession by possession, but Nico Battisti's just taken over, and he's actually a lot like Darius Wise at Beaver. He's got an arm, but he can scramble, and if you don't contain him, he's gonna break one for 60 yards.
Against Hopewell, which they got a big win last week, 54 rushing yards, 112 passing. Of course, Beaver Falls coming off that shutout against Quaker Valley. One of the reasons why that offense is so good for Central Valley is this fullback linebacker combination in Terry Woods, who they interviewed on the tape that I was watching earlier today. This kid's a banger. He's a big-time player.
He really is. He's really big. I saw him last week against Hopewell, and he just turned a simple dive play into a 43-yard touchdown, and it was just pure brute force right through the line, and he was gone. And he did the same thing a few weeks ago against Beaver. He pounded one over the goal line when they needed it, and it was just, he's a big kid, and he's a hitter.
I was exchanging text messages earlier today with Coach Lyons and Coach Matzo, and I think they both realized with the final few weeks left in the season, someone's going to lose this football game, and that could really mean a lot as far as getting into the playoffs. So a lot at stake for Week 7 tomorrow night. And if you don't have a ticket, good luck, because I think this thing is going to be sold out. It's going to be a great football game. And I'm sure my man Bob Barrickman at WBVP will have this game on the radio. So you're really fortunate in this region to still have WBVP and WNBA to listen to these great broadcasts. Now we're talking about Beaver Falls. They got a huge offensive line, but they got this kid, Malik Shepard, who's back after a foot ankle injury earlier in the season. I didn't realize this until watching that tape. TimesOnline.com is the fact that this guy, wide out quarterback, he does it all.
Right. It's funny. Our son, our oldest son, Jowett, does video for the Times now, and he was editing the tape after the game the other night, and he said, "What position have I put for this kid?"
By the way, he did a great job with Donald Trump at Amherst.
Thank you. And he came in and he said, "What position do I put?" I said, "Put quarterback, running back, wide receiver, because he plays every position. He's an athlete, and I think he could be the X factor against Central Valley. He's a kid that he can hurt him in a lot of different ways."
They're very deep as far as skilled players are concerned, but one of them is going to be playing for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and Coach Kelly, Donovan Jeter. Good basketball player, but an exceptional football player. And he actually trimmed down a little bit going into the season, but he's still about 260 pounds, 6'4". He got a lot of intangibles, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He is definitely. He's every bit the Division I prospect. When you look at a lot of kids, they'll get recruited simply because of their size or because of just because of the height and the weight. But this kid's he's a stud athlete. He can play, and he's a difference maker.
Talk about Coach Lyons a little bit more. Great player, had a lot of exceptional success when he was the head coach of Panaca. And I think he was the perfect blend to end up there. When Dan Matzook, the great coach at Rochester, was the superintendent there, a lot of people, including me, I wasn't thinking about Mark because I know he was out of town, and I thought, he had turned the page. I thought Ryan Matzook. But then I thought, it might be kind of difficult keeping it in the family with a superintendent and a coach. He ends up going over to the historic Beaver Falls program, and Larry Bruno, and Judge Mancini and Bobby Blythe, that great program. And he not only brings them back to respectability, but major prominence in the MAC and now in the Beaver Valley Conference. Young Ryan Matzook, I think we all knew when the Matzook family, meaning Gene, who's undefeated at Rochester, brother Dan before him, and Ryan was working the offense there, we always knew he would be a good football coach. But I don't know if we thought he'd be this good. And boy, he's turned out to be very good.
He really has. I mean, he's got a lot of, obviously I covered his father as well. He's got a lot of those characteristics, just, the intangibles, but just relating to the kids too. It's one of the things I noticed when his dad coached, just the way he related to the kids, and Ryan is the same way. And so he really has done a great job at Beaver Falls, and it's been a good fit for him too. He's been a good fit there, and just what he's done for that program has been just tremendous.
Listen, I can't thank him enough, and this is why I love the Beaver County Times and Beaver County so much. I'm just out doing these videos because I like promoting things that are good. Long day for this guy. He's an engineer now. We told you that the last time we were together. He and his wife were at senior night for their niece at Beaver, a little volleyball action, and he still took time to come here tonight. And he is a quality journalist, and he's been a friend of yours truly, your Pratte Pack for decades. And I'm grateful that you came here tonight.